right, let's hit the field.
All right.
Just wanted to talk, that's all.
Today is Tuesday, September 3rd, and the Yankees were taking on the Rangers in Game 2 of a 3-game set. Carlos Rodon on the mound, continuing to look for his career-best 15th win. My recap, your reactions coming up next. This is Pinstripe Territory.
Welcome to the New York City.
Pinstripe Territory.
Just when they thought I was out, they pull me back in.
Wow. That's all I can say. Wow. You know, fool me once. There's an old phrase in Texas that I heard somebody say one time. Fool me once, and you can't fool me again. Oh my God. Shame on you? No. The phrase actually goes, fool me once, shame on me. And then fool me twice. No, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I don't know why I keep believing that Clay Holmes will be replaced as the closer. I don't know how many times we have to see this. I'm at a loss for words tonight. Clay Holmes just blew first place. Welcome to second place. That's exactly where we said we would be if we kept throwing Clay Holmes out there. Wow. I'm flabbergasted. This is what flabbergasted feels like and looks like. Enough already of Clay Holmes. My goodness. My goodness. I'm sorry I'm not putting any coherent thoughts together right now. I'm trying to process what the hell I just saw, what I just watched. Yankees led 4-3 going into the ninth inning. I thought they had that dog in them tonight. They battled back with a late rally after 6 completely useless innings offensively against Andrew Heaney. And then Clay Holmes happened. Unfortunately, no matter how much dog they have in them, they still have Clay Holmes as a closer. Not totally unexpected, I guess. Shouldn't have been surprised. It's like we keep finding new ways to have the worst game of the season, and they all involve Clay Holmes. I'm sorry, guys. You just can't keep putting him in there in the ninth inning. That's on Aaron Boone. That's on the entire organization. I mean, how often does it have to happen? How many games does this guy have to blow before we recognize it's a problem? Were you planning on running this guy out there in the ALCS? I hope not. Absolute dog shit. James Augustine says, you can't spell closer without loser. Yikes. Shaky defense from the Yankees tonight. Gleyber Torres and DJ LeMahieu late in the game. They did nothing against Andrew Heaney. I'll tell you what, the Yankees have got to figure out this nonsense against lefties. No way you should be getting shut down by Andrew Heaney. I mean, he's not terrible, but you got to hit him. Judge and Soto have been terrible at the plate for 3 series in a row now. You know what? I'm not going to dog on them too much for that, because get it out of their system right now. Get it out of your system right now, and in the playoffs, go get them. Catch fire and do your thing. But I don't see how we can do any damage in the playoffs at all without a functional bullpen. Absolute waste of a start by Carlos Rodon tonight. Talk about him in a minute. We had another multi-hit game from Jazz Chisholm. OPS almost up to 800 now. Another good night out of the leadoff spot for Gleyber Torres. Some shaky defense. But he had a couple of hits and a walk. Verdugo had a go-ahead single. He also hit the ball on the ground of the right side a few times, as is par for the course for him. Volpe, swinging the bat better, had a multi-hit game, multi-RBI game. Stolen base number 26. Probably going to get to 30. All fun things that we could have talked about if not for Clay Holmes, who continues to find a new low with every appearance. And you just knew it was going to happen when he allowed that first hit. right? Then he lost the strike zone because he has no confidence. And he can't throw anything over the plate and get swings and misses because he's not a swing and miss guy. I'm at a loss for words tonight. This is my 139th postgame show of the year. And this is the hardest time that I've had even speaking to you guys, because all I want to do is just rip my TV off the wall and just stomp on it for about 10 minutes. Jeez. Unbelievably poor performance from Clay Holmes. We'll talk more about it. We'll take your comments. It's a lot of them like this. Glorified Body says Clay Holmes sucks. Yikes. I feel bad for Carlos Rodon. I really do. I really do. He had a really good night. Slider was wicked. He had 19 swings and misses on 99 pitches. The command was pretty good too. 11 strikeouts, the most he's had in his Yankees career. He got tagged for a home run by Josh Young, but even that wasn't a bad pitch. 6 innings of 1-run ball, 1 hit. Now on the season, 28 starts. He does not get win number 15, which he was in line to get until Clay Holmes happened. 4.19 ERA on the season, 152 and a third innings, 172 strikeouts. So more strikeouts than innings pitched by a significant margin, 49 walks, and a 1.22 whip. Highest ERA in the starting rotation. But I think you have to call this year a success for Carlos Rodon just based on what happened last season and how he barely made any starts, really, and he had an ERA of almost a touchdown. I want to know where he fits in your playoff picture. Do you put him in the rotation? Not that it matters, because if we get a lead, Clay Holmes is just going to flush it down the toilet like he has done 11 times now. 11 times. Like the rest of my monologue that I have planned almost feels useless talking about at this point. Let's take a few comments. Dee's channel says, what a comeback from the offense and what a performance by Carlos Rodon to flush down the toilet. Absolutely. Lightning Monkey says, massive Holmes crash, but crash out, incoming, be right back. I'm not sure what that means. Rick Marrero says, I literally just come here to vent. Would have been 11 games up, at least half of that. Now, they lost, I think, 7 of the games that he's blown. Now 8. So they would have had a more significant lead. But, geez. I think I'm starting to see why Pirates fans were celebrating when we traded for him. Alex Rizzo says, I tried so hard to defend Clay, but just can't anymore. It has to be someone else at this point. I mean, it has to be. It has to be. You got guys coming back. We'll talk more about that. But, I mean, do you use Luis Gil without him pitching in the bullpen? Do you go to Weaver or do you go to Cousins? I mean, you just can't keep running him out there. He's trash. Jared Hood says, Clay Holmes likes to kill dogs. Whatever dog they have, he will kill it. Clay Holmes likes to kill dogs. Whatever dogs they have, he will kill it. He says it twice in a row. It's like Nicky 2 times. I'm going to go get the papers. Get the papers. Franklin Lopez says, F Clay Holmes and F Boone for still believing in this trash as a closer. A wasted performance for Rodon, who should have won the belt tonight. Rodon was going to win the belt. It was going to be his 9th belt of the season. Francis Saminsky says, I'm sick and tired of this loser. Me too, pal. And Theo with the line of the night. Great thing that it's right there in front of us. It's all right there in front of us. Unbelievably bad loss for the Yankees. And it ruined my postgame show. I had a whole bunch of stuff written that I was going to go over. I had some fun jokes for the monologue, but now I'm not in the mood to tell them, and you don't get to hear them. I'm sorry. Let's talk a little bit about Luis Gil and Clark Schmidt, who are coming back soon. Yanks are getting 2 pieces to the rotation. That's going to give them 6 guys for 5 spots. So somebody can definitely, transfer to the bullpen. Sounds like Nestor Cortez is going to pitch out of the bullpen at least once. And then he'll get another start, and they'll make a decision. Schmidt has been out a really long time, but I think he could be effective in the bullpen if you wanted to put him out there. Just to remind you, he had 11 starts with a 2.52 ERA before he went down with that oblique injury. And he was getting a ton of swings and misses. He was one of the most valuable pitchers in the league with a 1.9 WAR before he got hurt. I think it's past that point in his career where you have to worry about him, getting length or whatever. He made it into the 6th or 7th a few times before he went down with an injury. So you might want to use him as a starter, but you need somebody who can get swings and misses out of the bullpen, and he is somebody who can do it. Fans who remember 96, though, will remember how big of a boost it was to get David Cone back. He came back. He had an aneurysm in May, and then he came back in September. He threw like 7 no-hit innings against the A's, and then he was huge in the postseason. So I was kind of slotting Clark Schmidt into that David Cone role in my mind. He's going to come back and he's going to win some big games in the playoffs. But we might not be able to do that because we don't have a closer. We just don't have enough swing and miss stuff out of the pen. Luis Gil threw 80 pitches, his last rehab start, so they're preparing him for a starting spot again, obviously. I thought maybe they would use him in the bullpen in his ramp up just to see how he looks in games that don't matter. No one cares what happens at AAA. But they're preparing him to come back and start. I would feel more comfortable with him in the 9th inning than I would with Clay Holmes, even with his command, because Clay Holmes also has the command but doesn't have the swing and miss stuff. My God, I hate how this entire season has become about Clay fucking Holmes. A lot of talk today about whether or not Giancarlo Stanton will make the Hall of Fame if he gets 500 home runs. As big a Yankee homer as I am, I have trouble seeing him get in, and I don't think I would vote for him if I did have a vote. If there's ever a Hall of Exit Velocity, he's a first ballot inductee. But I think given that he's basically a one-dimensional player for the last 5 years, that would probably mean he needs to get to like 600 home runs to get in, and I just don't see that happening. He's got 427. So let me know in the chat if you feel differently, but in an era where a ton of guys hit home runs, I'm just not that impressed with 500 anymore. And that being said, he turns 35 in November, so he's got 2 more years of 30 home runs, and he's at 490 or so. So it's not a given that he'll get there. But, if Bernie Williams doesn't get in, the centerpiece of 4 championships, middle of the order batting champion, Gold Glove winner, who was incredibly clutch in the playoffs and played stellar defense, I don't see how Giancarlo Stanton gets in. And Bernie's already off the ballot. So, all right, quick word from our sponsor while I regain my composure before we rip Clay Holmes.
Congestion from sinuses, allergies, or a cold can be all-consuming.
That includes snoring for me. But Scotty, I found some relief from Navage Nasal Care. You've got to try this. Navage makes breathing easier. My Navage unit is a game changer for clearing my congestion fast.
Yeah, Kratz, Navage uses that smooth saline flow and nasal suction to clear those nasal passages.
It works for me, Scotty. I've noticed a huge difference since I started using Navage. I'm breathing better and the whole family is pumped that I've got the snoring under control.
We want to help you get relief from your congestion too. Our listeners can order a convenient Navage starter pack, including a nose cleaner with batteries included and 30 original salt pods. Everything you need to get started. Plus, get a cleaning kit as a free gift with your order, but only going to our exclusive URL, navage.com/FAL, and using our promo code FAL. Again, to order your Navage free cleaning kit and for full product details, go to navage.com/FAL. That's promo code FAL at navage.com/FAL.
All right, let's go. Let's get it going.
All right, so we've got a bunch of super chats that I want to make sure I get to. So before we do the recap, which is pretty much just Clay Holmes stinks. Let's just be honest. It's just going to be Clay Holmes stinks over and over again for about 10 minutes. But it's still going to be fun. We'll make it as fun as possible. But we've got a bunch of super chats that I want to make sure that we get to. Sean Mesa says, I have lost faith in this team. I guess this is what being a Yankee fan is going to be like under Hal. Way to ruin a lifelong Yankees fan. I'm not sure you can blame Hal that much for this one. I mean, look, the Yankees need to develop pitchers too. It's not all about going out and signing a closer or going out and trading a closer. A lot of this is just organizational development. They haven't developed young bullpen arms the ways other teams have. Jay Mata says, but they didn't need a closer, right, Cashman? I mean, everybody knew they did, but the price was astronomical. Going back in time, if I could have traded, for Tanner Scott and Spencer Jones was the price, you probably would have had to include Roderick Arias. Man, knowing what I know now, I mean, I already knew that Clay Holmes sucked. I already knew that. But watching it and being subject to it again and again and again, man, I wish we had gotten a closer. Jeremiah Lopez says the Yankees need to DFA Clay Holmes. I don't think they're going to do that because if you look at the numbers, he's not a horrible pitcher like by the metrics, right? So they believe they can get something out of him. You don't go from closer to DFA'd. But I'm just tired of seeing him. I think he stinks now. I used to think, all right, well, if you put this guy in the 6th, 7th inning, maybe he'll get you some ground balls or whatever. But he's lost his confidence. He has jumped the shark. I am done with him completely. But they're not going to DFA him. Doug Rouse says the only Yankee less suited for his given role than Clay Holmes is Aaron Boone. By the way, Boone will be our guest tomorrow. No, I was kidding. Referee says, what about DJ and Canely effing up first base? Yeah, there was some issues. For DJ, they said he lost it in the lights. If that's the case, I'm not going to crush him for that. That's tough. And I liked the effort from Canely there. I had a problem with Gleyber Torres not knocking that ball down up the middle. Francis Samiski says, only now have I stopped cursing at the very thought of Clay Holmes. Guys, I don't even know if we're doing a recap tonight. We're just crushing Clay Holmes tonight. Jared Hood says, and now look at that. Half game out of first, zero urgency from this front office. And this is exactly where we said we would be if the Yankees didn't get a closer. You can't keep blowing leads. 11 blown saves. Are you kidding me? I can't believe how many super chats we're getting. You guys are pissed off. I'm going to, pay off my mortgage from you guys tonight. Louis Penefel says Clay Holmes is 2-5 with 11 blown saves, and BS also means bullshit. I'm done. Tomorrow is another day. Go Yankees. Tommy C's Cat says DJ had some good swings, though. It's all right there in front of us.
It's all right there in front of us.
And Dr. Randy Cokewave says, I didn't get surprised when that happened. I mean, intellectually, I was not surprised that it happened. Spiritually, I was preparing for a win. I had the fun hat on. The fun hat is now, I have several fun hats, you guys see. I have many, many fun hats. You'll notice there's one missing on the shelf that's usually right there because I freaking stomped on it. I slammed it on the ground. I stomped on it when that ball, the second that Langford, I think it was Langford hit the grand slam, made contact, and you saw the ball kind of just fly up through the screen, even though you have to watch with binoculars at your own TV because the home plate camera is so bad, that the second the ball took off, I didn't even see it land. I just smashed my hat on the ground and started stomping on it. RJ says, at least the Nostra Derek prediction was right. It was not right. It was not, because I had not only 2 hits from Volpe, but I had a win for the Yankees. It was a double prediction, so we got half of it. Raziel the Great says, Clay is what's always been the anti-Mariano. He's been bad. Let me just run through some of the stuff that happened tonight. So we had nice running catch by Soto in the bottom of the first, but he has not been good offensively for a while now. He also had a swing where he looked like he was hurt. He was kind of stretching his side. Josh Young hit a home run off of Carlos Rodon that made it 1-0. I thought it was a good pitch. It was inside corner, and he just got to it. Bottom of the 6th, Carlos Rodon struck out Adolis Garcia for the 3rd time. That was his 11th strikeout of the game, so the most he's had as a Yankee. Very nice. Yankees got on the board in the 7th. Line drive, singles from Jazz and Volpe. Jazz came in to score on a productive out by Trevino. Verdugo had a jam sandwich on his hands, 61-mile-an-hour dying quail over this drawn-in infield to give the Yankees a 2-1 lead. Yankees loaded the bases in the 8th after Jazz Chisholm beat out an infield single. I love watching Jazz play. And then Volpe roped a 2-run single up the middle. That made it 4-1. Rangers rallied back for 2 in the 8th. Shaky defense from DJ LeMahieu and Gleyber Torres. And then obviously in the 9th, Clay Holmes flushed it down the toilet, and the Yankees lose.
Mission failed. We'll get him next time.
You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir. If you ain't first, you're last.
I was ready for the gapper. Or the shot down the line, because we've seen that so much, because people square up Clay Holmes. You know? They make contact. I was not ready for the grand slam. Did that go in the second deck? It looked like it was headed for the second deck. I didn't even watch it land. Angelo says, Luis Heel or Clark Schmidt as closer. Honestly, there was a time when closers used to go the last 2-3 innings. What if the Yankees broke that out this year? What if they said, Clark Schmidt, we're riding you, baby. We know you're awesome one trip through the order. Go out there in the playoffs and pitch the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings. Or at least the 8th and 9th innings. Would that be crazy? It would take some balls, for sure.
He's got a lot of fucking balls.
Unbelievably tough loss for the Yankees tonight. CM, another super chat, says the record for most blown saves in a season is 14. Go Clay. It's kind of like in Major League where he's like, hey, you broke the record for wild pitches in 1 inning. Congrats, Rick. Unbelievably tough night. Honestly, I would have rather had Aroldis Chapman out there. I mean, on anybody. I'd rather have a random commenter. Ness TBG, you're our new closer. Congratulations. He says, not Holmes' fault. Roof was open. That's pretty good. We've heard that excuse before. Tough night for the Yankees. Let's get to some final comments here. I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight, guys. I'm not going to be able to sleep. I try and be professional in this podcast. I try and give you guys a thorough accounting of the game. But sometimes things happen that just shake me to my core, and I'm having trouble even articulating the way I feel right now. I'm so pissed off. I am so pissed off that I don't know if I'm going to be able to sleep. I don't know if I'm going to get a wink of sleep tonight. Horrible job by Clay Holmes. And the Yankees need to hit better. Full stop. You got to have more, offense against Andrew Heaney. Another super chat here. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry that we had to experience this, but I'm glad we got to experience it together. Misery loves company. Like the podcast. Subscribe on YouTube. All that stuff. Tommy C's Cat says, remember, all the closers with more blown saves historically were from the era of 3-inning saves. He's not a closer. We've been saying that since May. We've been saying that since April. He got off to a good start, but he was lucky. An inch here, and it's a double instead of a foul ball, or a home run, instead of a caught at the track, or a double play that had 114 mile an hour exit velocity. I mean, it was just, he was walking the tightrope, and that's why we called him Cardiac Clay. But tonight, he became Cardiac Arrest Clay. We're dead. I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like and give us a subscribe. It helps other Yankees fans find the channel. We're also on all your favorite podcast platforms and social media. Join the community, have some fun. We're here after every game. This is Pinstripe Territory.